From the studios of Books in Motion in Spokane, Washington, this is Engene reading Long Time Gone by J.A. Jance. The book opens with a dedication to the General and his dedicated crew who made writing this book not only interesting, but possible. The prologue. By standing on her tiptoes on a kitchen chair, 5-year-old Bonnie could just see out over the sill of the window in the tiny daylight basement apartment where she lived with her parents. The sun had finally burned through the low gray clouds, and now splashes of sunlight cast a crazy quilt pattern across the rain-dampened grass of the yard and the cracked concrete of a crumbling sidewalk and driveway. Sunlit spring afternoons were rare in western Washington, and Bonnie longed to be outside, but she didn't dare, not with Mama and Daddy gone. When they went away on those long Saturday afternoons, they'd tell her that she'd better stay inside and be good until they got home, or else. Bonnie knew what "or else" meant. If they found Bonnie had been outside while they were off drinking beer and smoking cigarettes, Daddy would take off his belt and light into her. Or Mama would go outside and cut a switch from the weeping willow tree and use that on Bonnie's bare legs, or the thin, ragged panties that covered her equally thin behind. The outside door was unlocked. Bonnie could have gone up the stairs and let herself out if she had wanted to. She would have loved to run barefoot through the grass, chasing the butterflies that drifted in and out of Mimi's garden, or to play a solitary game of hopscotch on the smooth surface of her neighbor's driveway. But she didn't. No matter how well she tried to hide what she had done, Mama always seemed to know exactly when Bonnie was telling fibs. So Bonnie stayed where she was, watching and waiting, sometimes shifting her weight from side to side and holding onto the windowsill to help keep her balance. Then something interesting happened. A big car came creeping up Mimi's driveway. Her driveway was far nicer than theirs. It was smooth and clean, with no gaping cracks where grass and weeds and dandelions squeezed through. The car stopped a few feet from Bonnie's window perch. It looked new and shiny, and it was red. Not fire engine red, but a funny kind of red Bonnie had never seen before. She watched as a man got out, a big man wearing the kind of dress-up clothing Daddy never wore, not even on holy days when Mama made him go to church. The man slammed the car door shut. He hurried over to the steps and pounded on the back door. After a while, Bonnie's friend Mimi opened the door and stepped out onto the porch and stood with her back to the screen door. During the week, when Mimi went to work, she wore dresses and heels and had her hair pulled into a bun at the back of her neck. Today, though, her long dark hair was in a ponytail, which made her look much younger. She wore light green pedal pushers with a matching top along with white sandals. Even from where she stood, Bonnie could see the bright red polish that Mimi wore on her toenails. Mimi had even offered to paint Bonnie's toenails once, but Daddy had said, "No, absolutely not." And Mama had said Bonnie was too young for nail polish, so all Bonnie could do was look at Mimi's brightly colored toes and wait to grow up. Since Saturday was house-cleaning day, Mimi wore a flowery, full-length apron. As she talked to the man on her porch, Mimi crossed her arms under the bottom of the apron as though her arms were cold and that covering them with the cloth of her apron might help warm them. Bonnie couldn't hear any of the conversation, but from the bright red splotches of color on her friend's cheeks, Bonnie knew that Mimi was angry. So was the man. He waved his arms, his face turned red, and every time he stopped talking, all Mimi did was shake her head. Whatever the man wanted, Mimi's answer was no. One of the car doors opened, and another woman stepped out. This one looked familiar. Bonnie thought she might have seen the woman before, coming to the house with a vase of flowers or maybe a covered...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?